The know-it-all. That's me. The know-it-all attitude is characterized by someone who thinks they know everything, rejects advice, and dismisses others' opinions. This behavior often stems from arrogance or a need to appear superior, but can also be a sign of insecurity or low self-esteem. People with this attitude frequently dominate conversations, correct others constantly, and see their own way as the only correct way. I 1,000,000% I have the only correct way. There is not a doubt in my mind, if I was in complete control of everything and not just high on drugs and having my mind as fucked up as you can make it, I could probably fix 90% of the world's problems. Yup. Arrogance and conceit, a strong belief in one's own intelligence and superiority of others. Resistance to advice, an unwillingness to accept input or help from others because they believe they already know best. Dismissal of others' opinions, treating others' thoughts as facts. Dismissal of other opinions, treating their own thoughts as facts and invalidating others' perspectives. 1,000,000%. Dominating conversations, constantly talking to show off knowledge, correcting others, and turning simple topics into arguments. Stubbornness, a refusal to back down even when they might be wrong. Insecurity, a way to mask feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, and projecting a facade of superiority. You see, you can have something without having 100% of that. I don't really see that as a thing with me. A need for validation, an attempt to impress others to prove their worth through intelligence. No, I definitely... If I wanted external validation, there are just things I say to people that they absolutely hate and rub the wrong way, and it doesn't get me validation, it gets me hatred. My brother and I don't agree on this. My brother wants to believe in democracy. He believes that, voting, and look, democracy's great, whatever. We don't live in one, but even if we did, it still wouldn't work, because spite brain. Republicans notoriously have spite brain, and only thing they want to do is get back at Democrats. So one of the biggest reasons we don't have healthcare in America is one, because racist people don't want black people to have healthcare, but the ultra rich don't want you to have healthcare because they make money off the healthcare system. Now, that Luigi Mangione guy shot that CEO. And I think within the next couple years we will have healthcare. But I also believe the government might wait off on signing on the healthcare agreement. And I guarantee you I'm 1,000,000% correct. Because they don't want the image that you can just go out and shoot somebody and fucking get stuff done. But if you look at things historically, you can go out and shoot somebody and get it done. That's just a fact. That's how things work. It is unfortunate that people are so adverse to doing the right thing that the only way you can deal with them is a bullet. Take any member of this church. Every one of them gives money to a massive human trafficking ring. They're not going to stop because they're going to tell you it's their religion. The only way to stop them is a bullet. You're not going to reason with them or talk it out and go, hey, let's do this, because one, they've learned how to manipulate, lie, and antisocial. Also, I signed a perjury that said that I lied when I said it was a human trafficking ring, but now I'm sitting here right now telling you it is a human trafficking ring. You're welcome. Why it's problematic. It can damage relationships because it makes others feel inferior or unheard. To hinder personal growth as individuals prevent themselves from learning from others. It can lead to isolation as people are not attracted to constant arrogance and dismissal. I notoriously can dismantle almost anybody's fucking argument. And I worked at Papa John's. I still remember wave after wave of these stupid assholes. Came in and they're all mass-produced. They're mass-produced by the church, so they all have the same skills. Not special, not unique. This is what happens when you have a production line of dumbasses. To give you an idea, Stu kept coming to my house and harassing me about religion, and I kept blowing him off and treating it like a joke, because it's a joke. The only thing, honestly, it's just fascism. Like, the only thing they have is overwhelming numbers and people willing to get themselves killed so some guy can make millions and billions of dollars. Trust me, this church is a great example. They have billions of dollars and everybody in it's willing to kill themselves to make sure those people keep billions of dollars. That money could be redistributed amongst the members and everybody could live a good life, but that's not going to happen. Because they don't care about their members. That's a fact. That's why they take it in the ass mentally, emotionally, and physically. It must be weird on YouTube to see me randomly bring up this church at all the time, but whatever, man. Yeah. Another way you can dismantle this church is they believe that the president has to have sex with every age of woman from a baby forward. And it makes the sun go around the earth. And you should probably just say that to every member and then go stop pretending to be intelligent. You believe that. And eventually you will have the ones that are idolaters that go, I don't believe that, but I believe everything else because it's worked for me. Yes, being a complete sack of shit has worked for you. Congratulations. You have learned that cheating at everything enables you to win. And then you tell people integrity, 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 but also you don't do integrity because that would involve not cheating. It was at Papa John's, like I said. I think it was Kevin David and Song all tried their hand at this shit, and it's just, even with a completely destroyed, retarded brain, I still managed to talk circles around these people. Okay. And I remember David was funny because he was like, you're just some arrogant Indian guy. You know, every Indian guy does that. They think they're smarter than everybody when they're not. And then he alluded to, I can just kill you. And I was like, yeah, but killing me doesn't make you right. Yeah, I don't, yeah. But the reason I bring this up is this kind of feeds into a big reason why people don't like me, because a part of that is literally just telling people the truth. One of the things that, dude, any of these church members, communism, and it's not a thing. There is no fucking powerful communist party in America, okay? And once again, women is communism, women empowerment is communism. Like, just how everything in these guys' brains fall under everything's communism, and the only good thing is fascism, okay? And they're fascist. This entire church is a fascist entity. That's why they do everything through force or under the threat of death. Because it is fascism. Okay? And they tell you socialism and communism is bad, but they don't tell you what the alternatives are, which is a dictatorship and fascism. Okay? So every time you hear somebody go on about that, just go, what are your beliefs? And then you'll have them go, You're going to dismantle it. You're going to tell me having a king is a bad idea. You're going to tell me having a dictator is a bad idea. You're going to tell me taking it in the ass mentally, emotionally, and physically is a bad idea. But I think it's a good idea. I've been doing it my entire life. I've been drinking lead and treating my wife and kids like shit my entire life. It's such a good idea. It causes so much misery, and I hate psychology. Those guys are such arrogant pricks. They tell me I have insecurities and I'm mentally unwell and I have all these mental disorders. What I hear is they're attacking my religion because I'm a dumbass. I can kind of do this shit all day. I used to do it to my idiot friend Taco, who's just fucking really annoying about his dumbass religious shit. And shove it up your ass, dude. You sound like an idiot. Yeah. So, I guess this is an important aspect of myself I need to chill out on, is probably not being so vocal about being right. I've always been able to call it almost every time, believe it or not, just through my power of common sense. Yeah. I do remember, I don't remember who it was. It was one of the guys that called me on the phone. And they were basically trying to explain how communism doesn't work. And I was just, look at the rise of China. You're gonna lose. And the whole thing, the whole thing was that socialism and communism are redistributions of wealth. The wealthy people in this country, this church that makes $300 billion off of human trafficking and doing all the wrong things, want their money, and they do not want to help people. Okay, because that makes them sick. When I talk about helping people, it makes them physically ill. Even these people at the church, they have an entire thing about personal resilience where your kid starts crying, you just throw it outside and you leave it out there, and then it develops emotional dysregularity and mental disorders, and then it's like, oh, my parents abandoned me, but I want my dad to love me, and then it goes through its rest of its life with daddy issues. And those are all mental disorders. And in these people's brains, the mental disorder is amazing. The more mentally ill you are, the better person you are. This is just part of their bullshit. They can't see. And I remember this shit with Blondie where he was like, you need to take perspective. And dude, the shit with him in Perspective where he was like, perspective. And I was like, okay, well, what perspective? He's like, you're a rich guy. And I'm like, okay, cool. Finally, I can fix the world. And he's, no! It doesn't work that way. You have to keep your money. You can't give it to anybody. And I was like, why? It's like, because your church will murder me if I try to help people. And he went, argh! And I was, what? He was, you're a rich guy? And then the evil government comes and tells you, you have to give your money away. I was like, just give it away? I was, okay, I'm down with that. And he was, no! No, they're gonna taxes. You're talking about taxes. Yeah, taxes. I was like, taxes, that thing everybody pays. Everybody on the planet, outside of rich people. All the entire working class pays it, but the rich people who can actually afford it don't pay for it. I was like, let's be clear on that there, genius. And he's, oh, yeah. And I was like, I'd be happy to pay my taxes because taxes is the rent you pay for living in the U.S. And if you don't pay your fucking taxes, you can get the fuck out of the U.S. And I just remember the stupid look on his face because it's entitlement. It's my money and you can't have it. Well, here's the truth about money. It's something we should probably teach people. Your money isn't your money. It's a certificate of debt owned by the U.S. government. Yes, the U.S. government owes your money, and believe it or not, there's actual literal laws that they can just take your shit. Nobody ever invokes them though because they believe it would be cruel. But I wouldn't see it that way. Personally. Crippling rich people because money is power and they use it to bully their way into everything. Crippling rich people would be the start of fixing the problem. Okay. It is the equivalent to taking away a really loud voice that keeps screaming, give me your money, give me your money. They don't deserve it. They haven't earned it. They're not smarter than you. They haven't outworked you. They're not better than you in any way. And their biggest, what do they put their money into? Human trafficking. That's why this church has $300 billion. Okay. So perspective taking. Blondie implied if I was a rich fuck, I would get into human trafficking and do all the bad things. Well, what I told him was, give me the money and find out. And he went, argh! Because he's not going to give me the opportunity to prove him wrong. Because he's wrong about everything. And he's wrong about socialism, and he's wrong about communism, and he's wrong about everything. Communism isn't the best system in the world. There's a lot of critiquing in it, but capitalism is a blood system that causes misery. Infinite amounts of misery. And the truth is it's just slavery with extra steps. Okay. And fucking Blondie superiority comes from his money. Okay, that's it. Whatever, man. I can probably scream about this all day, but it doesn't matter. So yeah. And I remember him you're invalidating what I'm saying. Yes, I am, because you're stupid, and you're talking like a dumbass. And Blondie himself has that kind of Donald Trump thing where he wishes ultra-rich people loved him. And everybody in this church, for that matter, the wives, when I was president, I kept talking down to the rich people, and they started getting really, really mad, and the wives started getting really mad at me because I just kept disrespecting them. On every level, because that's what you need to do, is invalidate them and then tell them to fuck off. Tell them they have enough money. Tell them they'll never have enough money. And it's an infinite bucket, and they'll never fill it. They'll never be happy. Okay? And then you go, you're being stupid, you're wasting everybody's time, and I'm sorry your dad didn't love you. Yeah. But these people, the anal eating mummy god, I just want to close out with this one. I remember anal eating mummy god, total brain fart. What did he say? He said to me, Bobby, what if there are no good people? And he said, what if the systems we put in place, the media, the control we've put out for decades of don't care about mental health and all these things have just created a bunch of assholes? And I was like, then you create good people. You create people who care about one another. You create people who practice kindness and authenticity and being empathetic. Okay? You stop with the narcissistic bullshit that involves you raping kids and drinking lead like a good retard. Like, and he was like, yeah, but, and we got into how toxic his culture is versus how toxic a natural born culture would be. And I was like, and above all else, you stop being a spiteful prick that kneecaps at every fucking turn. Somebody's trying to do a right thing and you're blowing their fucking kneecaps off. And he was like, and dude, even these guys got into, dude, even when we got into it, talking about Marxism, anal eating mummy god was like, okay, look, we can call Marx a drug addict and a loser, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it doesn't matter what he was. I was like, he was right. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, if a hobo says something that's right, that hobo is right. Okay? I was like, I don't give a fuck. He was fine. I was, what? He's fine. You win. I win what? I don't know, Bobby. I don't know. You don't agree with us, and we have overwhelming force. And I was like, I don't give a fuck about your overwhelming force. I was like, buddy, in my fucking world, if I was president, you guys would be the first issue that would vanish overnight. I was like, I would rip up the separation of church and state. That would be the end of it. I would govern the fuck out of you. The U.S. government would suddenly be your government. You dumb bastards would be doing what I told you to do. And he was, that is what everybody's afraid of. And I said, good. I was like, you guys love a dictator so much, why not have a dictator come in and just, like, I get why you hate us. You better understand why I hate you. Like, whatever, man. I don't know. But I guess this entire rant was just a know-it-all rant. And I don't, dude, anybody that brings up socialism, they always point out Venezuela or any other country the U.S. has secretly disadvantaged through embargoes or fucking with trade partners or making threats or just deliberately using the CIA to collapse their economy to prove socialism doesn't work. Because these people aren't about truth. They're about fistition. They're about making it look like it doesn't work.